state. Now, did you find that do they know what a nonfiction is versus a memoir? Or is that something that you sort of have to guide people through?
Yes, there's often quite a bit of confusion around memoir versus nonfiction because they're both nonfiction. So because they're both non-fiction, that can confuse people. But they are very specific sort of genres, if you like, because memoir comes from the French word memory. And being where you are, you might speak French or have people around you who do. Is that, so you guys are a lot more across the French than me. But I have been told that memoir comes from the French word memory. So when you're doing memoir, you are actually doing that. You're doing your memories. And so the way to remember what the difference is that memoir is about a person. It's about you. It's often written in first person. And the subject matter is a person. And with nonfiction, pure nonfiction, the subject matter is usually a topic, a subject, grief, real estate, travel, cooking, it's a subject matter rather than a person. And then but where it gets confusing is with nonfiction, you will often weave in personal stories. So you weave in personal bits of memoir that relate directly to that. So if you're writing about weddings, because you're a marriage celebrant and you're taking people through the process of what happens, you might weave in little personal stories about your wedding and about what you arranged on the day and all of that. So that's, I think that's why people get confused, but that's basically what they are.
Thank you so much for explaining that. And as you were talking, I remember a big truck with a hole in the bottom, as you explained in your book. And I remembered a beautiful yellow dress that you wanted to be a princess dress. So it's so true. Weaving that in really connects you to your audience. It's like, I know so much more about you, right? And I think like having that emotional connection when we speak about our stories, even if it's memoir or just straight nonfiction on a how-to level, it does connect emotionally. And is that something that most authors find, if you're a first-time author, that's sort of like a challenge to really discover your inner voice, to discover that, how am I going to connect to people emotionally? My story is not that interesting.
Yes, it's again, it's quite divided. When I see people come through my programs and then work with them in a more in-depth way individually, it is quite divided. I see that people who come from blogging or people who have journaled quite a lot, who are very sort of connected to their own first person position. So I experience the world this way and I do this and I do that. They tend to find the creative writing and the personal story and the memoir component quite easy. They sort of have leaned into that voice a lot and they've sort of worked that writing muscle. People who, and this is general, but it's what I see, people who tend to come from more focused on their business, and they might have written reports, e-newsletters, just sort of updates and bulletins, and they want to write about a subject matter like leadership or something. They are really good at getting the content down like you would for a program or laying modules out. But they tend to find the creative writing and the first person position and the sort of exposure of their feelings and emotions and the imagery and the animation and the engagement that's more from creative writing. They tend to find that harder. Yeah, so those are the two groups. And so you find that you need to sort of, I often find I do creative writing practices with those people to loosen up that voice, and with the people who are more always in the first person, I have to rein them in a bit and also get them to focus on sort of some more strategy. So I'm using elements for both.
Right. Yeah. So it's finding that perfect balance, right, between connecting and actually saying what you want to say in a productive manner, right? Oh, I love that.